Hi, this is Miss Kitty, AG Crafter. Today I'm going to have a day of sewing. So you will get to see me do whatever I do. I usually sew a lot on the weekend. Although this week we have had a really bad snowstorm here in Texas. If you've been up with the news, you'll know that we got at least 4 or 5 inches of snow here where I live. And so what I was hoping that I could do was do a lot of sewing. Well, didn't get to do that because, we didn't have lights. It was extremely cold, and in the room that I work in here, we don't have this room is not heated really well because it was at one part of the outside, so somebody built it in. But anyway, so it gets really cold out here. I mean, almost as cold as it is outside. Now I have a little heater that heats it up, but when it's like -1, no. And so sewing out here this past week was just not going to happen. So anyway, I just started sewing again. I want to say it got good enough to do something either Thursday night afternoon and then Friday got a lot better, and then Saturday was really great. So all I needed was just my little heater. So anyway, today is a day of sewing. So what I'm making today is I am making some doll shoes. Now, so let me say this first. If you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up, subscribe, and so anyway, we're going to do some sewing of some doll shoes. So in just a little bit, I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see what I am doing. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got a piece of a shoe that I have already sewn. Okay, so I've already sewn this, but what I need to do first of all is I need to clip the curves. Okay, so I'm going to do that just right now. So I'm just going to clip the curves, just clip it about 1/4 of an inch apart. Now, I want to be careful and not cut into my stitching. So anytime that you are clipping a seam, you want to make sure that you don't cut into the stitching part. Okay, so I just want to make little snips all the way around the curve up until I don't want to get, I want to end about almost to the top, almost maybe about an inch away or so from the top of the shoe, the back of the, actually this is going to be the back of the shoe. Okay, so after I get that done, I'm going to turn, this part is the lining part, that's going to be on the inside of the shoe. This is the right side of the shoe. This is what's going to be showing. So I want to turn that out, and I want to press it really good. And I might even need to get a spray bottle and spray this for a little bit. Okay. One thing is, in making these shoes, is very important to press. And you want to make sure that the lining is not going to show. Okay, so I want to press this really good. I might also need to get some more spray. Might need to spray it a little bit more. Now the pattern that I am using is the pattern that I got from Pixie Fair. I got that, it's a Love You Bunches it is called it's a slip-on shoe, but it's from Love You Bunches. And I'm going to do the other side too. I'm going to press that. Okay. All right. So you see now how it's pressed, and you know it looks really good here. There's no, on this side, there's no lining. The lining is not showing. You want to make sure the lining does not show on this side right here of the shoe. Okay. All right. So this is the lining part. Okay. All right. So this is just one shoe. Now you would do that to the other one too. Okay. And so what I'm going to do next is I will put this together. I'll pin this together, and I'll show you in just a little bit what I do. I'll pin, this is actually the back part. So I'll pin this together, match the right sides together. Now, if you are not familiar with sewing, so you know you have a side that is the wrong side. That's the side that's not so pretty. And then you have a right side. This is the pretty side. Okay. So you want to make sure that you match the pretty side to the pretty side, okay, when you're doing this. All right. Okay, now I'm back, and I have got the back part already pinned. Okay. And one thing you need to make sure of is that you need to make sure that you get these, I want to show you. You see this seam? Make sure you get that together, okay, so it will look right. You make sure you get that seam where it joins together, match it up real good. If you don't, it's not going to look very good, okay? All right, so I've got this pinned together, and now I will sew it at 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Oh, and I need to change my foot because I was using this foot is when, now I did not show the beginning of what I did at first, but when you have to trace the pattern and this shoe pattern, okay? And then you also have to trace the 1/4 inch line of where you're going to sew. And so when you do that, you have to use this special foot right here. This is an open foot. Okay, it's actually, for my machine, it's called an in foot. But this right here is clear and it's open. That way you can see that line that you have drawn on your fabric, okay? All right, so now I'm going to get my regular foot, which is a J foot for my machine. I've got a Brother machine. I really like it. I've had it for about 2 years. So I'm going to put it on my machine. Oops. Okay. And then I'm going to sew 1/4 of an inch right here. Okay. All right. So here we go. Oops. Just a second. I got to change my stitch here. Okay. Change it to the 1. Okay. I'm going to take out my pins as I go. Okay, I'm gonna have to take this out because let's see. No, it's okay, I think. All right, it's okay. It just kind of folded in, but I think it's okay. I caught it okay. Okay, so now you see this is the back of the shoe. Here's the seam. Okay. Now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next in just a second, okay? All right. Now the next thing that I need to do is I need to trim this seam to about 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to trim it really carefully to about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, there we go. All right, now the next thing to do is a very important step. And I'm going to take this. This is a pressing tool. It's very important that you have some pressing tools, or what you can use if you don't have one of these. This is a pattern that I also got from Love You Bunches, and they're are pressing tools. And I made this with the pattern and out of just some scrap material. It doesn't take that much. And then I bought some sawdust. You might be able to get it from a hardware store or something. But anyway, and I filled it with sawdust. So I'm going to open up this seam right here. And then I'm going to take my iron, and I'm going to iron it. And I might need to spray this a little bit, just a bit. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of open this up with my fingers, and then I'm going to take my iron and I'm going to press it so it'll open up, and it'll lie flat. I really like this little pressing tool that I made. I just got this made yesterday. This is really helpful. Oops. It's really helpful in getting this done. So after you do that, then you're going to take this and fold it over. And get this folded over. And then you're going to take your pressing tool again, and you're going to press the shoe top on there. You know, now some people buy a little small iron, and I guess for these doll things it would be helpful to have a little small iron, but I find that the large iron works just fine. You know, I really don't see any sense in spending extra money on buying a teeny tiny iron. It works out fine for me. And I'm just going to I'm going all around this shoe top, and I'm just ironing it down. It's very important. Pressing your shoe is very important to have a shoe that's going to look nice. You want to really try to get this done. I'll do it all the way around. Okay. All right. I think I've got that pressed all the way down now. Maybe here, just on this side right here. Let's get that. Okay. Okay, I think that's pretty good. It's pretty good. So it should look like this after you get that done. Okay, so I'll show you what I'm going to do next. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a needle and thread, and I'm just going to hand sew some stitches. You see I've got this line, a 1/4 inch, you can see that, 1/4 inch line drawn all around with disappearing ink, and I will wash this off with a washcloth before, you know, you're not going to be able to see this because this is going to be glued down eventually. So I'm going to start at the side of the shoe, and it's going to be kind of like basic. Okay, so what I meant to say earlier was that you want to have a little bit of a tail here when you're sewing these stitches, okay? You want a little bit of a tail because you're going to eventually, once you start gluing, you're going to pull these threads up, okay? All right, so just want to let you know that, okay? Okay, the next thing that you're going to have to do with this shoe top is you want to trim this. So I'm going to show you what you want to do. So now you want to trim the part that is the lining part. Okay, so just a second, I'll show you that. Okay, so carefully just trim away only the lining part, not the part that you want to show, and just carefully trim it. Be careful not to trim the stitching that you already did. Okay, so just carefully, and you might, I mean, I've got big scissors, but it might be helpful to use little small, like cuticle like scissors if you've got any of those, or just little small tiny scissors if you've got some. I've got these you could use. Oh, got a pin in there. Okay, yeah, you could use something like this. Mine don't cut, they're not very sharp, so I don't use these. So I'm just going to use these big scissors right here. Cat, you're going to get clipped. Sorry about that. My cat sometimes likes to get in the show. So you're just going to go all the way around. You're going to go all the way around that shoe top, and then when you get done with that, you're going to clip, and I'll show you that in just a second. Now you're going to take your shoe top and you're going to make little snips all the way around, just the part that is the top of the shoe, not the lining, but the top. Just little small clips all the way around. Now she says in her pattern, she says this is optional, but I like to clip it. I don't know, that's just me. Now if you don't want to do that, because she did say it's optional, but I do like to clip mine. Just make little snips all the way around. Okay, and then I also like to clip this seam part right here, clip the corner off of it like that. It helps with keep it from being so bulky. So I just go around it and clip, just make little snips all the way around, about a 1/4 inch apart. Being careful not to cut that stitching. Okay, all right, so now you see, I'll turn it around, you see there's little snips all in that shoe top. Okay, so the next thing, we got the shoe top is pretty much done. The next thing that we'll do the sole, okay? And I'll show you that in just a little bit, okay? Okay, now I want to make sure that I get the edges really, really good. So I'm going to do them about 10 or 15 seconds. Okay, so get the edges, 15 seconds about, all the way around. So I want to make sure that we get those edges really nice and adhered. You want to, you're adhering the lining fabric onto the sole part. That's what you're doing. Okay. Because this is going to be the sole or the inside of the shoe. Okay, not the bottom. This is really just the inside. It is the sole. It's the bottom piece of it. Okay, so now I'm going to take that off, and there was some that got a little stuck because it hung over, but it's okay. It's going to be cut off. Okay, now then, okay, I'm turning this around, and I'm also going to, now I've got my pattern for my insole. This is actually, that's what it's called. Is it insole? That's the part that's going to go on the inside of the shoe. Okay. The sole is what's on the outside. So I'm going to trace with a disappearing ink pen. I'm going to just trace all the way around. Oops. Uh-oh. It moved, so I'm going to put it right back. Okay. All right. Trace that around. Okay. All right. Now I've got that one traced. Now the important step, now if you miss a little bit, you can fill it in like that. Okay. The very important step, the next step is, once you have this one traced, you need to flip it over, okay? You got to flip it over, because if you don't flip this over, you're going to have like two right shoes or two left shoes, and you don't want that. You want a right and a left, so you got to flip it over. So you flip it over, and then just trace it, just like you did the other one. You're going to trace it all the way around, like this. Okay. All right. Okay, so now you've got both of the feet that are already traced. Okay, so the next thing that you would do would be to cut these out, and the next step is actually the gluing. And here comes the fun part. The fun part is gluing. All right, so we're going to start cutting one of these out for the one, because I've only shown you one shoe tops, but everything you're going to do to the other one. So I'm just showing you one for right now. Okay, so I'll be back in just a minute, and we're going to get to glue. Okay, so now I'm back. Okay, and so what we're going to do now is we're going to cut out one of these insole pieces. Okay, so I'm just going to carefully cut out along the line that I made with my disappearing ink marker. I'm gonna just following that line, cutting it out. Okay, all right, all the way around here. Okay, all right, now I got that done. Okay, all right, so, all right, okay, so here is my insole. Now you're going to glue, the glue is going to go on the white part. Now here, this is the part that's going to be the inside of the shoe. See, you're going to glue, this is going to be done like this, and see, the inside of the shoe is going to be like that. Okay, so we'll show you, I'll show you that in just a little bit. For right now, we'll put this piece aside over here because I haven't started my other piece yet. Okay, now I've got my glue here. This is Fast Grab Eileen's tacky glue. This is the kind of glue that you want to use. This is Fast Grab. It's going to grab onto that very, very well. Okay. All right. So here's a neat little trick that I learned from Love You Bunches, from her pattern in her tutorial. What she says, this use a toilet roll, you know, and you put your bottle upside down so that all the glue, because this is hard, it's hard to come out. In fact, I just put it in here, and so it's going to take a little while for all this glue to go down to the tip. So you want to keep this upside down while you're working with this glue. Oh, another tip, which I need to get that in just a minute, is to make sure that you have, this is very important, make sure that you have a washcloth that is damp, because your fingers are going to get very sticky, because this is tacky glue and it is very sticky. So I'm going to go ahead and get my washcloth, and I will be right back. I've got my washcloth, and my glue has been upside down for a little while, so maybe it is about ready to start gluing. Okay, so I'm going to take the cap off, and I'm going to squeeze some glue all the way around the shoe insole, all the way around, just putting a little, kind of a little line all the way around. Get some good glue all the way around there. Okay. All right. Yeah, see? All right. Now I'm going to put the top back on and then put it back in my toilet roll, because if you don't put the cap back on, I have learned that you'll have the glue will start oozing out of the top and eventually into your toilet roll. And you know, toilet paper is pretty precious these days, so you really want to not ruin all your toilet paper so that you can actually use this, you know, so you won't get all the paper stuck together. So anyway, okay, now I'm going to let this just kind of sit here and rest for a little bit, so it'll get tackier if you let it sit there for a little while. Okay. So after it sits there for a little bit, we will start gluing the top of the shoe to this insole. Okay. All right. Okay, so we want to start with the heel part. So make sure that you put this heel part, and sometimes it's a good idea to make a little line, you know, right there where that heel, you want to make sure that you line up the seam of the heel to right there. Okay, and hold it there for just a little bit, making sure that you're no more than 1/4 inch. Okay, and then I'm going to try to get the toe part in there and just kind of hold it down for just a little bit. Okay, now oops, see, I told you it gets very messy, so this is very good to have with you. So what I like to do is I have these little clips that I use with my shoes. So it always helps for the heel, because that heel part is sometimes can be hard to stay there. So once I get that on there, and on there about 1/4 of an inch, hold on. All right. I put this little clip. I love these little clips. I use them all the time. They're good to use when you have Velcro and stuff like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do, this is where these little threads come in handy. I'm going to gently pull, okay, gently pull on those threads, and it will gather. Okay, it'll gather them up. Okay. Okay, and then make sure that you're only getting in about, you want to make sure that you hide those places which you stitch. Make sure you only get about 1/4 of an inch. Okay, 1/4 of an inch, and just start pressing all the way around. You just kind of press all the way around. Get that glue really stuck pretty good. You press all the way around, press it down real good. Okay. Okay. All right. And then after you've done that, you can clip those threads. You don't really need those long threads anymore. Okay. Now, if some of it didn't get, if you need to put a little bit more glue on there, you know, I like to do that, especially around the heel part, you know, around the toe. You can get some more glue on there, and then just go and press it down some more. Okay. I'm gonna, all right. Now, just gonna take my hands and just spread that around. You can either use your fingers or you could use a toothpick, but fingers are pretty good for me. Okay, now get my washcloth. That really comes in handy when you got a lot of glue. Get those fingers. Okay. Now there's something that is very, very important to do, okay, after you have gotten, okay, now, also, you know, what this washcloth comes in handy, if you get a little glue on the top part of your shoe, you can just take the washcloth and you can just kind of get it off like that, okay? Okay, now another thing, it's very important for you to go around the shoe, take your fingers and just kind of smooth out that top. Here, I got some more glue on there. Just smooth out that top of that really well. So you'll have, you know, you can't even take this and pull it a little bit. So just make sure that you smooth that out real good, you know, so you don't have, so it doesn't have, so it's nice and round and it doesn't have a lot of, you know, corners and stuff. It just will make it look a lot better. So I'm trying just to take this and smooth it around. Okay. Okay. All right, it's so far, it's looking pretty good. Now it has to dry, so it has to dry really good. So I would leave it for, I'm not going to do anything else to this shoe until it dries for about 24 hours. I'll just let it get really dry. And then the next thing, and I'll probably just do another video. See, here's the top of the shoe. It's looking pretty good so far, isn't it? Okay. But the next thing that you'll do will be the sole of the shoe. So you'll do the sole or the bottom of the shoe. And what I make with the bottom, out of the bottom, for the bottom, excuse me, of the shoe is I use some craft foam, okay, about 2 millimeters thick craft foam. It's not real thick foam. And I'm still working with this with my fingers to make sure that it's stuck down really good, and you know, it's pretty smooth. So anyway, okay. All right, so that's it for now. Okay, so I hope you liked this video, and I will probably do another part. We'll finish this shoe off. We'll do the sole of the shoe next. I won't do that right now because this has to glue dry glue dry. It has to dry really good. So once it dries really good, then we will take a piece, about a 4x4 square, and we will trace just the same pattern that I did before with the insole. That goes for the same thing. And we will trace that, and then I'll show you how to cut that out and how to trace it. So if you want to see more, make sure that you subscribe, and join me again when I'll be finishing the rest of the shoe. Okay, so leave a comment below if there's anything else you'd like to see me do. Okay, so I'll probably be doing more sew with me videos possibly in the future. But for now, I'm going to say goodbye. All right, bye-bye.